what's up everybody? I'm Andree. This is my YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to everybody who recently subscribed. I've been on the rise pretty quick in the last month, so thank you for all that. I will be putting out a lot more stuff in the future. I'm getting new technology in here and I am ready to start pumping out some more material. So keep on the lookout for some new educational, maybe some exercises and stuff like that coming up soon. Today, I want to talk about the evolution of the bass drum pedal. So to start this, we got to go back to the Civil War. To make a long story short, after the Civil War, drummers wanted to play these big field drums, the bass drums, on the ground. They wanted to put them on the ground and hit them with a stick, or sometimes maybe hit them with their foot. So people started making wooden bass drum pedals, and two of the most famous, the most notable two that made pedals was George B. Stone and his son, George Lawrence Stone, which may sound familiar to you. He's a famous author of Stick Control. So him and his father made these wooden bass drum pedals. I had one in my possession for a very short period of time, but it didn't belong to me. It was my teacher's. So I'm going to drop a picture of that in this video so you guys can get a chance to see what they looked like in the 1800s. They're pretty wild. They're wooden on the bottom, kind of like a new pedal, a newer pedal today. You know, you had your foundation plate, you had your foot plate. So they look just like they do today, except they'd have a spring in between the foot pedal and the bottom plate. So they're pretty cool. Wooden post for the beater and sheep wool, you know, really cool stuff. You'll see in a picture, awesome stuff. So now we're going to turn over here, and this is going to be basically 1909 is where we're going to start. This is when Ludwig in 1909 started making metal bass drum pedals, and they were also the first bass drum pedals to be mass produced. So in 1909, you can see they were cutting holes out of the pedals to kind of take some of the weight away of the pedal, which, by the way, it's worthy to note that it's year 2021 and DW has just released their new pedal a couple years ago doing the same thing, the machine drive, which is pretty neat. So in over 100 years, we're still using some of the same features. Now, it's a little bit different than your traditional pedal because it doesn't have that second support bar. But I'll tell you what, for 1909, these things really worked well. I mean, it still works today. Not the best, but it still works. So we had a hinge plate that would fold in, and then this bar would come out, and then the whole pedal would kind of fold up, and you could easily store it away. This little guy here, this is a dinger. So this dinger, what this would do, there would be a cymbal mounted on the bass drum, right? And if you wanted to get that hi-hat splash sound, which didn't have hi-hats back then, you would put the dinger down, and when you hit the bass drum, it would hit the cymbal at the same time, so giving it that splashed hi-hat effect. Remember, a lot of those bands back in the early 1900s was a lot of parade bands. This is the first time in history, in American history, that drummers started taking different parade band instruments and putting them all into one set. That's why the set back then was called a trap set, because it was a contraption of different things. So, into the 19-teens, what happened was we started getting other companies making knockoffs or their own versions of this pedal. You can see here, this is a Fraser pedal made by Leedy, and I don't believe there's a date on there. There's not, but you can see it's very similar to this. The only thing they did different was they put that support bar in the middle of the pedal instead of on the side, which is nice because now the pedal doesn't want to fall over like this one does. Okay, and then in the 20s, things started to change. Here's a Ludwig 1924 bass drum pedal. You can see they kept the holes, but what they did was, I'm going to move this so you can see those two next to each other. What they did was they made the heel plate solid instead of with a hole in it like this one. So you can't fold the heel plate up anymore. But this is what a 1920s pedal would look like. Almost basically the same. Bar still on the side, spring still on the side, the spring's a little bigger. Same kind of beater, still has the dinger. Which is really cool. This is just, it feels a lot sturdier. than in 1909. And then you had Leedy, came out in the 20s, and they made their own version as well. Again, look, you can see the similarities between the Leedy and that Ludwig pedal. They went from, they both had holes in 1909, as you can see here. And then in the 20s, Ludwig went to a solid plate. Leedy also followed to a solid plate. This is a pretty cool pedal, actually. If you see it close up, you can see that it still has a little bit of gold paint on it. This thing probably was beautiful back in the day. Very cool. I certainly hope that you enjoyed this video. I know for me, learning the history of drums and the pedals and stuff like that is very interesting, very exciting. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, please hit the subscribe button, share it, and tell me in the comments below what kind of video you'd like to see next. Maybe it's paradiddles, or you know, I have the original hi-hat pedal out there I could do a video on. Anything like that. Just drop it in the comments and I'll make it happen. Thanks.